here with Paul Tomash of Indochina Service Asia, and we're just chatting informally about these kind of video destination product showcase for you, our audience. Chatting whether it's a valuable tool that provides you information about the destination, suppliers that offer services. And what were you saying, Paul?
I was saying that I believe that the biggest problem we're facing is lack of information. There is no tourist boards in many parts of the world for our destinations. So clients who are interested in getting information, being travelers, being travel agents, being tour operators, have a lack of, they don't know where to go. They really don't know who to contact. They contact us a lot in our offices. And we'll be happy to provide information, but there is really no organized way to get information for a lot of people for our destinations.
Well, Stephen has and Travel Mall has worked out a program to leverage Travel Mall online community to provide not only this kind of video content. Hopefully, we'll have informational text type content. But for myself, I'm really looking forward to a series of panel discussions, webinars as we call it, whereby you, your colleagues from all these countries you service can be on the panel to discuss issues related to travel and tourism and answer questions from the audience around the world. We can handle up to 1,000 concurrent audience.
Yeah, definitely. I see when we, and we have limited resources, of course, in informing people. Whenever we travel around, whenever we are talking to people, I see some very interesting questions. I see very much interest in our destinations, and we're very happy. And I see afterwards that people are really happy to get some information because there's always the web and there's Googles these days. But I think what you really need is some accurate information of what's happening today. You don't need to know that 3-4 years ago this and that and this happened. You want to know now what the situation is with accommodation, with transportation, with all this. And that is hard to find, I think. That the accurate information on the destinations are difficult to find. And you know, having a forum like this would definitely help to increase interest in the region, because I see people scared or not comfortable selling our destinations because they don't know enough about it. They know more about other places and they sell that rather.
Right. Well, Stephen, I have your half an hour of your time, hopefully. Tell our audience a bit more about Mekong Tourism Organization. What are your objectives right now for this year?
Well, as Paul just said, basically the GMS office, or I would say the Mekong Tourism Office, has been formed as of last year, February. We are aware of what is missing in terms of information. So the Mekong Tourism Office will definitely look into these areas and inform the NTOs concerned that we will try to promote it in some of the embassies available around the world, and to provide some information on the destinations available, that they can provide the information in this basis. And surely, of course, we will work closely with tour operators who wishes to know more. They can access information from even the website of Mekong Tourism to seek information of this level. And we will work closely to see what is needed to be basically putting more into these areas. So we will help out in these areas, of course.
When you talked to and used the expression NTO earlier, National Tourist Offices, organizations, what do you hear from these national tourist offices? We've spoken to many officials, and they've explained to us what their plans are. When you meet with them and plan looking forward, what do they see that your office can do for them?
Well, there's two areas where this office is basically responsible for. One of it is the marketing of the destination, and the other is the infrastructure development on tourism. So that is underway. ADB has put a plan together.
Who's ADB?
ADB is the ASEAN Development Bank. They have put together a strategy plan for the next 10 years This is all the areas that we are looking at as we speak now. Next week, in fact, we are having the final meeting on the draft reports that will indicate all the infrastructure that will carry on into this region. And that's where we have to discuss more with the NTOs and see how we can actually utilize this document to basically put it together and work together closely with the NTOs. And what's missing, we will try to in place those. Yeah.
Infrastructure. I know the expression location, location, location. So here in Mekong is infrastructure, 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 right? If you can't get there, location doesn't count.
Yes, I see your point. That's where this whole strategy plan is all about. We are looking at all angles, from accessibility to accommodation, to attraction, to training of people, human resource. And definitely we want to look at all these areas of modes of travel, which is air, rail, sea and land also. So we are definitely have to look at all angles, I must say.
Okay, we've been talking to a lot of the hotels, travel suppliers, investment are definitely private investment coming in. We see the results. You're mentioning Asia Development Bank. Okay, they're putting in some money for infrastructure development, roads, ports. What kind of numbers are we talking about there? Are we talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions?
Well, the whole plan basically is almost, I would say, $340 million worth of money that should be available to access these projects. And as I say again, as we speak, we are also going to have this forum which is coming up in end of March, which is going to be the SME Investment Forum. And that's where we will talk about how loans can be given to businesses who wants to establish small businesses. So we will definitely look into how we can access these loans from the different donors that are available wanting to invest in this region.
The World Bank, are they active in tourism in this part of the world?
Oh yes, already there are some ongoing projects with World Bank supporting. In fact, the EU has also supported in some educating areas of like how to understand the EU business. World Bank has put into many sectors like human resource development. So as we speak, many of these projects are already ongoing already, Charles.
Let's talk about some individual countries for a moment. Vietnam, I think, pretty well on the road to success. Let's talk about Cambodia. Let's say they are one of they're a little bit more behind in the tourism development. Could you summarize for us what you view, where they are at, where they're going to go?
Well, Cambodia, as you asked me, is a very interesting destination. They are slowly but surely getting to a point where they want to be sufficiently enough to gain a tourism dollar. They have got plans ahead basically to put themselves together where they want to be very careful how they develop, what kind of tourism do they want. And already there are certain destinations in Cambodia that are slowly developing itself. For one is the Sihanoukville area, which is developing slowly as a beach resort destination. And again, of course, you have Phnom Penh, a city where you can have a lot of vibrant life going on. And Siem Reap being the heritage site of the Angkor Wat, as I say. And another village is being built to actually taken off the burden of other destinations also in the areas of Cambodia.
For Cambodia, what challenges, if any, besides time, do they have in attracting foreign investment for tourism?
Oh yes, as I said, the Mekong Forum, which is coming up end of March. That's where again we will see indicators of where the areas of investment. So I will know more by the end of March when we have this meeting coming up.
Laos, my introductory visit there, I understand they're kind of taking it slow and easy, focused in the tourism development. And that strategy, where do you see that taking Laos in the next couple of years?
Well, Laos is again another destination which is very interesting. They are centrally located in the whole of the Mekong. They are trying to sell themselves and promote themselves as an eco-tourism destination, and they are doing pretty well in this area. They have tremendously growth in their fourfolds of growth in their tourism arrivals. Last year itself, they closed like 1.2 million, and we can see that Luang Prabang as a destination is the whole living destination as a heritage, national heritage under UNESCO. So yes, they have enjoyed tourism, and what they are lacking of and to pick up is really on the human resource of those areas. And yes, it's a promising destination.
Human resource. I'm curious if you could address that a bit. These are the service workers in hospitality, restaurants, guides,
That's right, service people and hospitality people, yes.
and the who's going to come in and who has the resource to provide this training.
Already the EU basically has put some funds in to support the training base of this area.
Are the Americans anywhere with our foreign aid in this part of the world? I keep hearing EU.
Yes, the Americans has also put some investment and also some funding into certain projects also, yes, they do.
Great, great. Now, Thailand. Thailand is, what can one say? Besides being a great place, booming tourism industry, it is almost reaching maturity, maybe. I remember using that expression when describing Hong Kong, when it reached the peak, the maturity, or Singapore. What's next for Thailand?
Well, Thailand, we all know, is a very popular destination. It's the first choice in Asia, I would say. And Thailand has yet many places that has not been discovered. So obviously, you don't even want to be in the beaches or you don't want to be in the city. But there are a lot of culture yet to be touched on. There's a lot of destination in the northeast of Thailand where it's not been visited. So Thailand overall will want to promote these areas. And there is new areas to be found and there's new areas to be developed. And of course, it will attract the visitors of this level.
Northeast, a lot of nature, of course, culture everywhere, but lots of nature. So ecotourism paints Mekong region.
That's right. The ecotourism, the homestay, community-based tourism that will try to alleviate and eliminate poverty. So that's what we are trying to do. And that's all part of the plan of the strategy plan that ADB has put together.
One thing that I have heard oftentimes from tour operators in particular from EU countries is that they have great success selling this region, but some of the ecotourism, soft adventure type products, they'll talk accolades about, but then they'll say, I can't sell it. I go, why? Is it because we have very tough consumer laws in EU, and I will get sued if somebody slips or something goes wrong. Have you heard about this issue?
Yes, that's the reason why the EU has put some funding into training and to give more understanding of what is required in terms of their policy. So already they have put some funds, as I say, into Laos, into Vietnam, into Cambodia to give training on what to understand on these policies that they have on tourism.
Maybe it's not a fair question to ask you, but it's crossed my mind is that EU is very sustainable friendly, ecotourism friendly. I always wondered if maybe this is just one of those little loopholes in laws that didn't have some exceptions or clarifications about things like soft adventure, voluntourism, ecotourism, where you're not staying at a 5-star hotel with 12-inch railings for your kids.
I totally agree with you. Well, the product that they produce or want to sell has got to be very clear. If you see that you're going to have a 5-star bed or a 5-star hotel, you have to provide that's what's shown in the brochure. So if they don't do that, then of course they are putting themselves into trouble. So they are very well very well trained to understand the policies of the EU. So they will provide according to what they have and sell what they have. That's how it should go.
Myanmar, previously known as Burma. Tourism is growing very well as the rest of the region. the global political outrage at what's going on over there continues. They're, of course, part of the geography, their reality. How do you, what kind of a situation are you placed in as director of Mekong Tourism Organization, and Myanmar is part of it, in your role of promoting tourism to that country?
Well, basically Myanmar is a destination where, yeah, you are restricted by an embargo by a certain destination or certain country, but if it's a destination where it's a choice. If the people do want to go, they will make that choice themselves and see for themselves how safe and how good that destination can be for them. So in terms of political, I don't think I want to touch on that area because that is up to the government how they decide it. But in terms of tourism, I would say they still gain and get good travelers going to the destination. So they talk about it, and it's grown in terms of growth, I would say, for tourists coming to the destination. So as the Mekong Tourism Office, yeah, we will still promote it, obviously, because they are part of the GMS, and we will work with them closely to see where we can soften certain areas that will promote them better. Yeah.
The Thailand Travel Mart that is going to take place June of this year, Thailand Plus, and that plus being the other Mekong region regions. How did that work last year? What would you like to see it happen this year?
I think Thailand really is putting a lot of effort. They are helping the Mekong very much because they sell themselves as the gateway, and they want to be the gateway to the region. So it's a good help of Thailand giving us those support. And basically I would love to see more of the Mekong, I would say, industry people to join us so that they can have a good showcase on their products. And majority of the travelers or tourists or tour operators would love to come to Thailand to see more of the Mekong region destination and travel industry people getting involved with it. So it is a great help, I must say.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Stephen Young, Executive Director of Mekong Tourism Office.